Thank you.
Okay, cool. Oh, we missed the recap. Anyway, it's fine. So I would want, I hope everyone has, okay. So first thing first, since I'm sharing my screen and I'm also using visual code at the same time, I won't be able to see your chats. So I would prefer you guys unmuting if there's something. I've pre-written the codes and make sure that things are working. Even if there are errors, I know what to point out, because if we start writing code from scratch, if I also start doing it, it's going to take a lot of your time, which is not worth it. So I would want everyone to open Visual Studio Code, and whatever code you see on the screen, once I'm explaining that, listen to it and then try running it in your terminal, and then if there are any errors, we will resolve that during the session. Okay, so first things first, here you can see these 4 lines of code. We will not talk about this const prompt equals to require thing first. Okay, and last class, I also told you that suppose, so my JavaScript's file name is new.js. So in order to run that in my computer, I need to, like in the terminal, I need to put node new.js to run the file. So we'll try running this. So what is it doing? It's it's declaring a variable called n, and it's prompting the user to enter the number. Okay. Once the user has entered the number, we need to just run a for loop, which we already discussed in the last class. So you can see that we discussed that for loop has 3, statements, I would say. So first is the initialization of the variable. Second is the condition, and third is the increment and decrement operator on the variable. And then under curly braces, you have the statement. Like inside the body of the function, you have the statement that needs to be executed, or whatever piece of code that you want to execute, right? So we will try running this as node new.js. Now you will see that you have this error, reference error, prompt is not defined. Okay. So how many of you are having the same error, or did it work for someone in the first case? I think I'll have to see the chat. Yeah. Okay. Others, are you having um, the similar error, or did it work for someone? If it worked for someone, do tell me. If it didn't, we will go forward. Okay, anyway. So I think it will not work for most of one, because it never worked for me at least. So what we do is, once we have this reference error, we need to do a npm install prompt sync. Okay, that is how it is advised. Okay. So even, there can be 2 ways. Okay. So one is this line of code that says const prompt equals to require prompt sync, sign in equals to true, and we'll try running it, and then you will see that it works. Okay. Now when you put enter number equals to 2, it will work as 1 and 2. Okay. In some cases, what happens is, if you do an npm install prompt sync, okay, and then try running it, it works. Okay. In some cases, it would work if the installation has happened correctly with the package, or else you will have to add this particular line, which is declaring this prompt as the constant, and it is this required keyword is basically calling this particular module or library or package, and then it says that, okay, you have to consider that its value is true, and then it works. So I'll send this piece of code here. So once you put it in your terminal, it should work. If it doesn't work and there's some other error that you're getting, do unmute and speak, or share your screen and show us what is the error. We'll definitely, try resolving it. What does the first line exactly mean? The const prom equals to required prompt sync sign it equals to true. That's what I explained. So see, what we're trying to do here first is we're trying to install that prompt sync package, okay? Using the node package manager, right? If that thing doesn't work, what they're saying is that you will see these lines of code in the later segments when you're trying to run a deployment script or so, where what they do is whatever keyword or whatever package you want to install, you put it inside a constant. Suppose prompt is creating error here, right? So we declared a const with the name prompt, and it says require prompt sync. So require will always help you to get that particular package, library, or whatever module you're trying to import. Okay. And then it says that, okay, consider it as true. And then you will have that particular package present. And that is why once you write this line, there will be no reference error, prompt is not defined. Okay, because it is already fetching that or importing that prompt sync package or module. So is it clear now, Anika? Okay, Jagriti, it's not working. So did you do an npm install prompt sync and then did you write the code? See, there can be multiple scenarios. So what happens is when I was trying to do it the first time, it worked for me just, could share what we have to run. I shared it in the chat already. And I'll put this command also. So you can try putting this command first, and then with the code, I'll send the code also. This is what is the problem when it comes to code, because anyway it has to be like a now it won't be, sorry, copy paste. So this is the whole thing. So you can put the npm install prompt sync in terminal, and then you can write this const prompt and the other code in Visual Studio Code and see. So there can be multiple scenarios, as I was saying, that npm, there will be people who does not have npm and node installed. So in that case, since you're all computer science students and we are learning coding here, there's only one rule to learn things. Whenever you get an error, copy that error, put it on Google, go to Stack Overflow and find a solution. Obviously, there's so many installation. Even I didn't know that this installation can happen using npm install prompt sync. Okay. So when I got that reference error, that prompt is not defined, I went to Stack Overflow and it gave me that, okay, you can try doing or use ChatGPT. Yeah. Personally, I am not very much in favor of ChatGPT for multiple reasons. Kiran, because I'm a content creator and I've seen that it just gives like vague answers at times, and it will throw out wrong answers. And for coding also, it didn't really work much for me. So I don't really like people relying on AI a lot. Like, yeah, better AI is, I know, but I think Stack Overflow still works for me better than ChatGPT does.
I was I was preparing for my exam and I searched for something on like ChatGPT. It showed different answer. Bard it showed different answer, and the book itself showed a differently answer.
Agreed. That is what I'm saying. Ma'am, I can able to give input, but console is not giving output for me. Why? What did you do? Did you not declare I? Did you copy paste my code? If you did, then there's some other error that we can't resolve. If you wrote code, check with the code that is available on the screen, then you'll be able to find errors. I'll tell you, I have been through errors where I miss, I'll forget to declare I'll because in other languages, when you write C++ or Java, you will be like for I equals to 1, because you've pre-declared I as int I equals to 0 or so. But here you have to do it as let I equals to 1. So I always used to forget that. I'll always mess up with less than equals to. I'll miss one plus of the double plus that is required. I'll do console.log double quotes I. So there are tons of errors in permutations and combinations that you can actually give. So do check. Okay, it is still showing error even after installing prompt sync. So did you add the line const prompt equals to require, Jagriti?
This line was added to be added in terminal or in the code.
No, it's in the code. You can see it on my screen, right?
Yeah, I wrote that.
Still it's not working.
Yeah.
What is the error that you're getting? No, then the installation either is not happening or it's not fetching properly. So I sent the code to you, right, like in the chat. So if you can try copy pasting it. So first do npm install in terminal. Then when the installation thing goes like 1 bar, 2 bar and blah, blah, once it's complete, then put this code on your IDE and then save it and then try running it. I'll show you how it is going to. So I made sure that before the class, I check all the code. See, for the first cases was prompt not defined. Then I did npm install where it shows found no vulnerabilities and blah, blah. It still didn't work because I didn't add the const line. And then when I added the const line, it worked for me. I did the same, telling, okay, Sirisha is also having a doubt. So, okay, so are you guys like sure that you have npm and node packages installed and there's no issue? If you can share your screen, because I don't know, maybe copy paste if you're still getting the reference error of prompt is not found or prompt sync is not found or no module prompt sync, copy that code and go to Stack Overflow, go to Google, ask Google what is wrong with us, that why is it not working if it's working for other people. If it's still not happening, maybe I'll try I'll search myself. So you guys are still able to see my Visual Studio Code, right? Or are you seeing some other screen?
Yeah, Visual Studio Code is visible.
Okay. People for whom it was working, maybe you can also, they've put the error in the chat, maybe just try. I'll figure it out before our next class. Okay. Okay, cool. So yeah, maybe you can also help or we can move forward and we'll see. So make sure those who are getting that error, make sure that, see, as you can see how I've written, right, that there will be a reference error which says prompt is not defined. Shit, what did I do? And in that case, you have to do this command and then add this. So you should always have these comments, because last time I didn't do it and I forgot. So that is why I was not able to tell you in the last class, right? So you should always have things like this, okay? Make sure you add comments or write it in the notes or so. But writing it as comments in the code is the best, because you might have a lot of notes and you won't know which notes to follow or look when it's time. So code is better. Okay. Then there was one more thing that we missed in the last class that we didn't discuss. It was about operators. So I'm pretty sure that we didn't talk about the unary, binary, and the ternary operators. And did we do that? Did we talk about unary, binary, and ternary?
No.
No, okay. So see, there are, when we're talking about operators, these three operators are based on, what operands you're trying to use, like how many operands and, oh, shit, something happened to my screen. God. Just a moment. Does anybody know how to remove that tab that comes on the screen with the home options? Because it's not letting me go to other tabs that I want. It's taking a lot of my space. Anybody? Guys, help. I need your help.
Just someone.
Hmm? Anyway, let's forget about that. Yeah. So I was saying that, so uh, we know that, okay, operators are what we are, the symbols that we're using. It can be arithmetic, it can be comparison, logical, assignment, blah, blah, right? But what are operands? So whatever data that we're using, in order to, or with those, how do I say? Okay, so I'll give you this example. So suppose we are writing this, okay? Suppose we are writing A plus B, okay? So plus here is the operator and A and B are operands, okay? So the number of operands that we're using, that specifies like how many, which category of operator does it belong to. So is it unary, is it binary, is it ternary and stuff, okay? So when we talk about binary, you know that it means two, right? So whenever we are writing A plus B, that means this operator is working with two operands, okay, A and B, okay. So we can say that, okay, this is here, in this case, this is a binary operator, okay. Ternary operator, you might have seen where we, we give conditions like these, but we'll come to this later. First, we'll talk about unary operator. So in that case, what happens is you can see this weird thing that I've written, that there's a plus symbol and then I've written 200. Okay. There's nothing before it to add with it. Okay. Why? Because we're talking about unary operators here. So what we're trying to make sure is that plus acts as a unary operator. That means it will only operate on one data, one operand. Okay. So what it actually does is it will try to, whatever value you give it, okay, with the plus, it will try to turn it into a number. So right now here you can see that we've written it in double quotes, okay. But when I try to print this, okay, since oh, why? What is wrong? Okay, sorry. You can see my terminal. I'll go back. So if you try printing this, you will see that I have a 200 here. Okay. So this 200 right now is a number. Okay. If you check the type of it, it will get you as number. Now, how do we actually know that whatever value that we're giving, is it actually turning into a number? So you will see with this example that once you're doing this console log dot and false, okay, so we could have actually printed it as false, but since you have added a plus before it, it will get into a number representation and then it will print 0. It's also printing 200 because I didn't comment this line, obviously. But then this is how it works. Now, suppose you're trying to do this, okay? Now, hello string cannot be put into a number with the plus symbol. So what it will do is it will print not a number, okay? Obviously 0 again because I didn't comment it. So you will see not a number. So that is how you have to remember that whenever you're using unary operators, it will work on a single operand, and it will, in all the situations, it will try to give you a number representation or try to convert it into a number and then give you the output. Okay. Binary is pretty easy. We do console.log 32 plus 16. And we try to 48. Okay. So this goes, so plus can act as a unary operator and as a binary operator as well. Right. Now we come to ternary operator. Okay. So now you will see that I've written 3 lines of code here, but the ternary operators comes into play in the second line. Okay. So first thing first. So you know that const score is equals to 80 means that you've taken a constant whose name is score and you've put a value of 80 to it. Okay. Next, we declare a constant again with the name score rating. Okay. And we are assigning it and we're saying that, okay, if score greater than 50. Okay. So you can see that when we are using ternary operator, first what we get is we get a condition. Okay. Then we see a question mark and then we say we are giving 2 values, good and poor. Okay. And there's a semicolon. So it's if you try to explain it to someone, what you can say is the first thing is the condition. Then after the condition, this question mark specifies is that what will be the value of condition. Okay. Is it true? Is it false? If it is true, the first value is is given as the output, or else this colon will say that, okay, this question mark is asking whether the condition is true or not. So if true, the first value will be executed. If false, the second value will be executed. So when you have to specify 2 values, and this will go as first value, second value, and in between you will have a colon to specify. So now, since here I'm giving a value of 80, obviously score is greater than 50, right? So the condition will give you true value. So once this is true, the first value has to operate, right? So we should have the output as good. So we will do a console.log score rating and we will see what comes through. So you will see it's good, right? Now suppose I change it to 10. Now this condition gets false because 10 is obviously not greater than 50. So the first condition, the condition gives value as false. So in this case, the second value will be outputted and we will get poor. So this is how ternary operator works. So why do we say ternary? Because we have 3 segments to talk about. One is the condition, the other is the true value, and the third one is the false value. So we have 3 operands to work on here. Okay. So is it clear for everyone? Come on, write it in the chat fast.
Excuse me, ma'am, I have a question here. In the condition part, can we have multiple conditions here?
Yeah.
Like,
so see, there's always an option of having nested conditions. Okay. But you have to make sure that it follows a pattern. Like in the last class, we discussed, right, that there can be an if, then there can be an else if. Inside that, there can be multiple conditions, right? So you have to make sure that the sequence of question mark and the colon is proper. Okay. And then you will be able to put multiple conditions and have those criteria. Now, since you have asked this question, we will do a known question in the ternary, using the ternary operator segment. So last class, we did a fizz buzz question, right? So we did, said that you have to take numbers from 1 to 100. And for every number that is a multiple of 3, you have to output fizz. For every number that's a multiple of 5, you have to output buzz. And for every number that's a multiple of 3 and 5 both, or maybe 15, not maybe, obviously 15, you have to print fizz buzz. Okay. But what we did was, we were making sure that we have 3 and then fizz, then 5, then buzz, just these numbers. Right now, we will try writing, not maybe, you guys will try writing a code where you print all the numbers. So you print 1, you print 2, and then instead of 3, you print fizz. Then you print 4, instead of 5, you print buzz. And you have to make sure that you use ternary operators in that case, like in that piece of code, and make it happen. So your time starts now. If you guys want, I can write the question in the chat, and I can give you a output how it should look. But you have got 10 minutes to do it. And I'll stop presenting my screen because my screen has the answer after a few lines. Is everybody okay? I'll repeat the question. I'll paste it. Wait. Just give me a moment. I'll paste the question and its output. Like what should be the desired output? I hope everyone is able to follow. If someone is not able to follow, you should send me a direct message and say that, okay, you're not able to follow this particular thing, or this is the issue and blah, blah. There's no problem at all. Okay. So I'll first put the, okay, I should first put the question, but I lost my question. Here it is. Okay, sorry for all the self-talking that I do, but it's pretty important for me to speak out loud because that's how my brain processes faster. I've always been that kid who reads out loud in class when you're asked to read silently. Viral. Okay, so this is the question. Create a for loop that iterates up to 100 while outputting fizz at multiples of 3, buzz at multiples of 5, fizz buzz at multiples of 3 and 5, and printing rest of the numbers as it is. The output in that case should go like this. So I hope nobody will have an issue. That's a long output. So 1, 2, fizz, 4, buzz, fizz, 7, 8, fizz, buzz, 11, fizz, 13, 14, fizz, buzz, and go on. This is my favorite question because I was asked this question to prove my coding skills on the first day of my engineering college by my 4th year seniors. And they were pretty impressed because I solved it, and that is why I became their favorites. So they would take me to all the community events with them. And that's how I got exposed to community. So this question is pretty close to my heart. So make sure you do justice to it. Who already did it? Garima already did it. Soumya already did it. Okay, good girls. You guys should definitely help me make assignments and other stuff. Okay, so while you guys do these questions, I'll take a look on what all I am supposed to teach. Did I miss any point or not? This is done, this is done, this is done. Okay, Sindhu is also done. Good. So again, I'll ask one of you to just present your screen and explain your code. But we'll wait for some time for others also. I hope this is not going too fast or too slow. If it's going too slow, you can write it in the chat. If it's going too fast, you can write it in the chat. If it's going exactly how you want it to be, you can definitely appreciate me during the sessions. I would love it. Everyone's just typing done. No fast, slow, and wow, what a teacher you are. Great energy. Nothing like that. Okay. Okay, at least one kid wrote it. Also, sorry, I'm a little distracted during the session because my younger sister fell from stairs just before the session, and I was trying to reach her out, but I couldn't. So I'm trying to get an update on her because she's alone in Delhi for her internship. So you can hear a lot of WhatsApp notifications in that case. Okay. So I see a few done. Okay, but it's still less. So we have a lot of participation. Okay, we have almost 65 people, and I've got only 6, 7 done. So what is the rest of the crowd doing? So today, because people requested, I also have my screen presented. You can see most of my code. I hope you're able to follow. So I would want maximum participation from your end. But you also have to make sure that you're not taking a lot of time because there are others who are, waiting while you're doing the question. So in case you're having any doubts or you feel stuck, ask right away, because then it will be fun for all of us, right? So you're asking a doubt, we're talking, we're interacting. So people who have done it, oh, people are still facing problems with installation of prompt sync. Okay, but for this question, you don't need that prompt sync because I've already given you a number that's 1 to 100, right? So you can skip that part. Maybe after today's session, you can try installing properly installation of that package. Maybe you can try going to Stack Overflow and do the installation. See if there are other methods that follow up and make it happen. Right now, please focus on the question because it does not require anything with prompt sync. Okay. We have a lot to study today. A lot. I'll show you. No, I can't show you. Okay. Now I can show you. So if you actually see how much we have to study today, this is, oh, where is it? So we have almost 150 lines of code. There are other codes that I have put as experiment, but we have 150 lines of code that we have to study with obviously spaces in between. But we are still stuck on number, where is it? Yeah, we're still on 24. Guys, speed up. Okay, done. Okay, so I will, as usual, do a poll to ask how many people, how many of you have attempted the question? Oh, good. Edit. Okay. Yes. No. Not interested. Okay. So save. So you will get a poll. So you can give me a quick response on how many of you have attempted so that I can take a random number and ask someone to present. And the poll goes now. Okay. Nobody is participating in the poll. Oh shit, no. It didn't get saved. Wait, I saved it. God, bro. Did you complete the question? Okay, there's definitely something wrong with my poll thing because I'm not able to. Yeah, no, Kamya, I didn't even do a poll. That's the thing. I'm not able to do a poll, which is bad. Sorry, guys. I don't think we can do the poll. There's a problem with the poll. Not able to put it. Anyway, okay, a lot of people have done it. So I would want Sirisha to present her screen and then explain the question to everyone, solution to everyone, not the question. I already did that.
Post disabled participant screen share shown.
Okay, then in that case, just put your code on the chat and then explain it while you unmute yourself.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Why have you, my first question after seeing the code, why have you taken I less than equals to 50 and not 100?
I just took it random. Let's see.
So you definitely didn't listen to the question. It was for the first
Oh.
100 numbers, but it's fine. It's okay. Since you've got the logic and it's working fine for 50, I think it should work for 100 as well. So you can just explain us the code. And I think everyone is able to see Sirisha's code. So if there's anyone who has written things differently, even you can present. And yeah, I think, yeah, and explain.
Yes, ma'am. In the first condition, we'll be checking for the number if it is divisible by 3, it's a multiple of 3 or it's a multiple of 5. If it is a multiple of 3 and it's a multiple of 5, then we print face bus. If it is not the case, then it will move to the next condition or next statement. In that statement, we have tried to find if it is a multiple of 3 again. If it is a multiple of 3, then we get the string is printed, and if it is not, it will again go with finding with multiple of 5 and so on. And if all the conditions, these nested conditions do not get satisfied, then the number itself is string.
Okay, so this worked for you, right?
Yes.
Shweta is asking, ma'am, I had a doubt. How can I have more than one line of expression under a single condition? So, see, I told you, right, that there has to be a pattern. That pattern is you put the condition, do a question mark. If you have to put another condition, you take a bracket, put the condition there, and then give values as true and false, and then check. So, I know it sounds blabbering when I say it like that, but you have to follow a proper sequence. Okay. Now, since you can see that when Sirisha sent the code, she has a bracket. she has declared const answer equals to bracket I modulus 3 equals to 0 ampersand I modulus 5 equals to 0 question mark fizz buzz. If not, then it's the other condition, right? So there has to be a proper sequence of bracket, question mark, and colon.
Ma'am, actually, that was not my doubt. What I wanted to know is that, like, under one condition, like, I have written I modulus 3 equal to 0. So at that time, I'm printing fizz. But can I have another statement under the same condition, like print fizz and then do I plus plus? Like, can I have two expressions under that condition?
No, you can't go like that, because see, you will have to operate on a loop, okay? But for printing that fizz buzz and fizz buzz together, only then there you can use the ternary operator. Did you get?
Okay, yeah, I was actually trying to do everything under the ternary operator only. So yeah, it works with for or while loop, but I thought we can have more than two conditions, two expressions, I mean.
Oh. See, I'll also suggest one thing on her question, that you always have to make sure that your code is pretty readable, okay? Why we don't really hear about ternary operators very frequently, or we don't use it in our code, or even if you know it, it would be the last thing you would want to use, is because it looks pretty complicated. You're writing a condition, putting a question mark, then writing another value, then giving a colon and all of that. It makes your code look messy. That is what not that is not something that you want, because right now might be that you're in a good mood and you're writing this code during the session. 2 months later, you're pretty depressed and you're like, oh damn, I don't want to do anything. Let's just open the laptop, see what I've done before, so that I get some motivation to, move forward. And you see that code and it looks so baffling in the first go. You're like, damn, what is this shit? So if all of you have seen Tare Zameen Par, that kid gets baffled, right? He's thinking about 3 into 3, a planet getting into another planet and having all that illusion and imagination. You'll have that kind of thing if you're looking at these complicated piece of codes, or with these numbers and everything in one go. So make sure that your code is as simple and as readable as possible, okay? But we should know everything. That is why I gave you this assignment, but people don't really use it like that often, so you should not try to overcomplicate stuff. No stuffs, it's good. Don't overcomplicate it with things, okay? Let some things work simply. Anybody who's still having issues with the logic implementation? You shouldn't have, by the way, because they've already done the logic. But anybody who's having issues, anybody who wants to present their piece of code and it looks different from what she has done, so then definitely. Yes, ma'am. What? Yes. You want to present like this. Anybody who wants to present, you can just put your code in the chat and then we can, just have a discussion over it. Or if there are people in the crowd, which there obviously are, if you want me to explain the code, I can present my screen. If you feel that you're still stuck at the logic or the syntax or whatsoever, at least not send the message to everyone, but do a direct message to me that, okay, you're stuck, you want me to present, you want me to explain, and go forward with it, because we can't really wait longer and, get stuck on one question. These are just basics. Once we get into complicated stuff, it's going to take more time, right? So at least be quick in that. Except that, okay, yeah, I'm not able to do it. I'll make sure that I understand it after the session. But right now, please move forward with the session and please explain the code. At least do a direct message if you don't want to be it out there in the open. I think everyone's busy trying the code, which is good. It's very, very good. So I'll press. Okay. It's clear, ma'am. You can move forward. Okay. Yeah. So someone did this. Okay, I love it. I love what I don't know how to pronounce her name, so I'll go with the last name. Whatever Padmaja has done, that's the exact thing that I was also gonna explain. What Sirisha wrote, it's pretty good. It's good as a beginner because you're making it pretty readable for other people. You're specifying the conditions correctly, and anybody can figure out that, okay, first one is for the 15 condition, the second one is for third, and then fifth. But what Padmaja has written is lesser number of lines of code, and I think a more optimized version, I would say. So yeah, Padmaja, you can just unmute yourself and explain the piece of code.
Ma'am, what I have written is first I would check whether the number is multiple of 3 or not. If it is a multiple of 3, then we would check whether it is multiple of 5. If it is multiple of 5, we'll print fizz bus. Otherwise, the other condition fizz would be printed. And then the false condition of whether the number is not multiple of 3 is implemented. Then we would check if it is just a multiple of 5, then buzz is printed. Otherwise, num is, means the number is printed.
Good, very good. Okay. So since she's already explained it, I will still share my screen and do my share of work. So I hope you guys are able to see the screen. So this is the piece of code that even I wrote. Okay, and this is how I sent you the output. Okay. So okay. So you can see, right? The loop and everything works fine. I like to assign stuffs to a variable first. Okay. Because then I know that's not a good thing because here you can't really understand what F and B is, but that was for fizz and buzz thing. So I assigned it to a variable and I exactly implemented how Padmaja implemented it. So first I go for I modulus 3 equals to 0. Okay. Now forget this whole thing. Okay. So the before the question mark, you have the condition, right? That's how the format is. You have a condition before the question mark. So this F is a condition, which is this. Okay. Now what happens is there has to be a corresponding true value and false value. So if you look in the code, this whole thing is true value. Why? Because it is coming before a colon, right? And this whole thing is a true value. Okay. But we have put it in brackets. Now you'll, right? This was true value, this was false value. Yeah. Okay. So now if this condition is true, okay, this part will be executed. Okay. So if I modulus 3 equals to 0, that's true. Then we'll go to this. So what is B? B is I modulus 5 equals to 0. So again, forget this part and forget this part. Okay. Just look at this. So for that case, B is I modulus 5 equals to 0. This is before the question mark. So if this is true, fizz buzz has to be printed. If it is not true, then fizz will happen, right? Now you can combine all these, okay? So that is I modulus 3 equals to 0. Since that is true, that is why this piece of code is being executed. Now, if I modulus 5 equals to also becomes 0, that means I modulus 15 equals to 0. That is 3 and 5, both are true. In that case, what we have to do is to print fizz buzz. If that is not true, that means if I modulus 5 equals to 0 becomes false, then you have to print fizz. Why? Because still I modulus 3 equals to 0, right? I hope people are not getting baffled by 3 and 5 and stuff. I'm just trying to explain it in the simplest way possible on how each part of this particular statement is gonna be executed. Okay. Now, if this piece, that is F, becomes false, this has to execute, right? So either this is true, this is false. So this has to execute. Now, again, this condition will be checked. If I modulus 5 equals to 0, then buzz will print, else I will print. So for the rest of the numbers who are not a multiple of 3, 5 or 15, the number will be printed, else for 3 fizz will be printed, for 5 buzz will be printed, and for 15 fizz buzz will be printed. So is everyone able to visualize how I was trying to explain it? Like, how are we actually moving towards the flow of control in this statement? Was everyone able to visualize it, or did you get confused? Come on, give me answers. Yes, okay. So I hope it was clear for the control. See, this is why I tell you that you can put as many conditions inside ternary operators as possible, but you have to make sure that a particular sequence of bracket, question mark, and colon is followed. Okay. So you have to see, okay, that F is executed, then this is one statement, this is another statement, and like that. Okay. So I think that was more than enough what we had to discuss in terms of operators. Now we'll come to today's topics called strings. Okay. So everyone is aware of strings, right? I don't think I have to go much deeper when it comes to strings, because you know that in other programming languages, we have char data type, then we have string. So when you're talking about character, it's one piece of character. And when you're talking about strings, it is multiple characters together, right? So when you're taking a name, when you're spelling a word, when you're writing paragraphs, sentences, it can all be strings. And generally, we put strings under double quotes in other programming languages, but JavaScript does not have any limitations like that. You can put it inside single quotes, and you can put it inside double quotes as well. So when we talk about strings, we have to talk about a certain things. Okay. Sorry. The net issue. Is everyone able to hear me clearly? Because on my screen, I'm getting this load issue which says that network is not that strong. It's not breaking, right? Yeah, okay. So I was saying that for strings, what we have to basically see or learn is how can we do string manipulation when it comes to JavaScript. Okay. Now, what do you mean by string manipulation? So then you're talking about making changes to whatever strings we have. So you can change it to lowercase, you can change it to uppercase, you can chop it off, you can print certain segments of the string and so on. So that's what we play around with string. And if you're doing a Web3 project, these things, these strings and all of things won't come into play. These comes into play when, we're trying to do a project where you're taking name and user and blah, or writing programming, like coding, doing coding questions or so, which is also good, right? You should know how things work. So you can see a very common example here. And since there are no particular data types that we're talking about in JavaScript, again, you can declare a string also using the let or var keyword. And you can just go forward with it. So we will just do some, plays. I don't know why this name thing is being striked off, but this is working perfectly fine for me. So I hope there's no issue with that. Yeah. So I have taken my name as the string. It's under double quotes. I think it will work for single quotes also. And then what I do is I take a for loop and I run loop from I equals to 0 to I less than name dot length. Okay. Now, can anybody from the audience tell me first, Why did I take I equals to 0 and not I equals to 1? And what does exactly name.length feature does? Okay, string index starts from 0 because string, yeah. So it's not just string index that starts from 0. We have these languages as 0 indexed in general. So even if you're declaring arrays or any such thing, it generally starts from 0 only. And you'll have to, since when you're starting from 1, it will go to the length, right? But if you're going from 0, it has to go to length minus 1. That is why we don't really put a equals to here, okay? And then what we do is we do a console.log name I. Okay, so you're putting this I here, which in turn will give you character at that particular index. Okay, for this we have string methods called .char, at, and stuff, but we don't really go for these methods because these are pretty hard to remember. Okay, I mean, there are a lot of methods and there's no point remembering all of it. Once you have to use it, you can just search, Google search and do it, right? So I'll try doing a console.log. And you will, yeah, sorry, this S is because of this console.log name 0. I got scared that I'm getting wrong output. So you can see that this will go SNEHA, okay. It will print like every length. Okay, let's see what happens if we put a equals to and Okay, so see, because that length is not defined for us, it will go as undefined. Okay. Now, this is one way to do it. The other way, if you want to print your name, is definitely you can go through each index, do the hard work of putting a console.log name 0, then name 1, then name 2, name 3, and blah. Wow. Oh, shit. 0, then 0, 0, 0. So you keep changing 1, then 2, then 3, then 4. And you print it. That's extra work, right? So you would want to have a smart work, and that is why you will do it in like 2 lines of code. So there are different ways to, do that stuff. So the first assignment that I give you, which you can do it on your own. There's no mandatory submission or so. What you can do is take a long string, okay, with as many characters as you want, and then you can experiment with 10, 15 popular string methods and see how it performs. Okay, there will definitely be errors, there will be exceptions, okay, because suppose you do, we'll come to it, there's like char, at, index of, slice, and these. So you will always see that whenever you're taking these positions, that suppose you're giving slice 2, 4. So you will see that the string will print for 2 and 3 and not 4. So then, because you've experimented with it, you will know that, okay, 4 is exclusive. So it will not take the last position. It will start from the left one, but it will go to the last -1. Okay, whatever you have specified. If it's 4, it's 4 - 1, that is 2 and 3 will be printed. So what you can do is take a long string and then experiment with multiple string methods, because I don't think there's point putting time during the session to it. Okay. Another very major concept under strings is string interpolation. Now, what is string interpolation? So you can see that you might have seen it in memes, or sometimes I have received mails with such things. So what happens is they've tried automating sending mails, okay? And what they forget is they forget to put this name, and they will send you with this dollar and curly braces and whatever variable name that they've given, and that does not get replaced by your name because they might have messed up at the back end stuff. So what string interpolation does is that you can declare this under a variable name. You can declare a string under a variable name, and you put the whole string under these backticks. Okay, so just before the number 1, you will be able to see these backticks. So you put it under the whole string under these backticks. And what you do is, wherever you want to replace that particular string, okay, whatever you have declared. Suppose I want to put Sneha at all these 3 places. Instead of writing it manually, hello, Sneha, you left a package, blah, 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 Sneha, Sneha, what I do is, I put a dollar, put a curly brace, and put the variable name in which Sneha has been declared. So in that case, we have a fake name variable name, which has Sneha as the value. So what I do is I put the whole string under backticks, and then I do hello star fake name. You left a package, blah, blah, blah. I want Sneha at 3 places. So I put it there, and then I do a console.log message. So you will see how the output comes. Okay. See. So it automatically got updated to hello Sneha. You left a package at the office today. You can pick it up tomorrow at 10 a.m. Sneha. If not, I will drop it off this weekend. Goodbye, Sneha. So you don't have to write it manually. You can just replace it, and wherever you want, you can put it. Okay. So this concept is called as string interpolation. So although I knew this concept, when I was asked during a class, I forgot that what exactly string interpolation means. Okay. So you should always know these heavy terms, because people who are talking to you in the interview, they're not gonna simplify it for you. Okay. They might be like, okay, do you know string interpolation? What if you know this concept, but you don't know what this concept is called? So you should focus on these minor things as well. I personally find it pretty cool because I love the syntax, that dollar and stuff. Anyway, there's another thing. There's this escape sequence character thing that you should know. So what happens is, since I told you that if I do this, okay, if I do this and I do a console.log name, name one, okay, and I do it again. So you can see that even with a single quote, the Sneha has been accepted. Okay. Generally, you would want double quotes in other languages, but here there's no compulsion and such. Okay. But what if you want something that says mamas? Okay. So there's a single quote that acts as an apostrophe, right? I think it's called apostrophe, yes, whatever. So if you want that, in that case, the computer is definitely going to be confused, right? That, oh, is this Sneha ending with this single quote, or is it a apostrophe S? Because the computer isn't that educated to understand what apostrophe S is. So whenever you have to print something like that, you will put an extra slash. This works as an escape sequence character, and your string will not break and it will print as Sneha's. Okay, if you remove this escape sequence thing, then you will see that you will get an error. Now let's see. Do you see this? This is unexpected identifier. Why? Because this string is not properly closing for Sneha, and it's not properly working for S as well. Okay, now let's see if there's an error. Again, there will be an error, right? Oh no, sorry, I didn't save it. Yeah. So even then it will be like unexpected string, right? So in that case, when you have to write apostrophe, you have to make a single quote. Yeah. Then you have to make sure that you use an slash, and I hope people are aware about somebody escape character. Yeah. So people know about escape sequences. We generally have /n, which goes for new line, /t, that goes for tab, and blah, blah, blah. These are the only two I remember all the time. Okay. So, one more feature about escape characters is that even though it will be like /n, these are 2 characters, but they're always counted as 1. Okay. So now here, if you have to, give the length of name.length. name.length. So you will see that we will get the output as 7, which is S1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This whole thing is 6. And then there's like this 7. Okay, that's how it works. So escape sequence characters always work. 2 characters will be counted as 1. Okay. So even this has to be paid attention so that you don't mess up with the apostrophe S and single quote. Then I put in a few examples for you for strings, 2 lowercase and console.log S2. We'll just see a quick output thing for this. This is how things work. So this was like in a mixed case, and when we used a built-in method to lowercase, it transformed the whole or manipulated the whole string into all lowercase characters, irrespective of which character was what. Then I already mentioned slice to you guys, right? You will see that okay, there's slice and then there's this. So you can see that I've taken a string S1 that has my full name in it. And what I do is I take a variable S2. Okay. In that I'm putting S1.slice 0, 4. Now, ideally, if someone sees 0, 4, it should be like S is 0, N is 1, E is 2, H is 3, A is 4. So it should print whole Sneha, right? If you go like S is 0, N is 1, E is 2, H is 3, A is 4. Okay. But that is not how it will work. Let's see what's the output. So you will see it's just Sneh, right? Why? Because 0 here is inclusive, but 4 there is exclusive. So this will only run from 0, 1, 2, 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So that will go, and the other part is obvious because we are doing an S2, S3, right? So that is why even Kumari is getting printed. If you just do console.log, let me show it to you. Why keep the confusion? Console.log S2. Okay. Oh shit. Always. Yeah. So in that case, only Sneh will be printed. Okay. Now what you do is, you're saying that there's an S3, okay, that is what is it doing? So it's instead of giving 2 values like you gave here 0, 4, you just gave 5. Okay, so you should always know that since you've given 5, it will be considered as the inclusive one, and then it will take all that comes after 5. Okay, so if you see the output for this, let's just do console.log S3. If you do this, you will see you'll get Kumari. Okay. Suppose I do it from 4 and I put Kumari with dot. Yeah. I try to save it. And then if I give you the output, you will see that you got A because A was 4th element. Then you got the space, then you got Kumari, and then all the dots that were there in the statement. So that means that whatever is the length of the string, it will continue to that. Even if you specify just one element, it will start slicing from that position and it will go on. So you don't necessarily have to provide 2 parameters here. So that's another cool thing that we experiment with. And then there's this another function that is replace. Now, why I'm telling you these functions is that suppose, after this cohort, you don't really want to go into just smart contract development. You think you need more time into the Web2 space or just know how coding works, get into competitive coding, DSA, usual stuff that we have in college. In that case, you should know these methods. Why? Because it makes your work easier. So we are not just studying for getting into blockchain, we are studying for having that knowledge overall. Okay. So that is why these minor things are important, or else we would have directly jumped up into smart contract development. So yeah, console.log S1.replace Sneh with hen. Okay. You're gonna see a nice output here. So now Sneha Kumari becomes Henha Kumari. Wow, nice name. So these are all these built-in methods, string methods. There are plenty. So you can just pick 10, 12 and experiment with it, see how it goes. Okay. Let me check if I missed out on string regarding something. No, I didn't. Okay. So again, the next thing that we're supposed to deal with today is function. So I would ask the crowd, are you guys still with me, or are you guys off to sleep or listening to music and chilling? Yeah, you guys are here. So you guys want me to take functions, or will it become too overwhelming for you? Or you guys are enjoying it? You want me to go with functions, or you want me to stop and just have a discussion? Okay, there's one yes. Come on, come on. Yeah, you guys are enjoying it. Good. You should. Yeah, go with fun. Okay, fine. Nice energy, girls. Nice energy. Okay. So we'll talk about functions. So anybody, oh God, I'm tired. My throat hurts. Anybody who would like to explain to me what functions are? Come on.
Piece of code executed when it's called.
Hmm? Yeah, piece of code executed when it's called. No, we are executing everything, no,
It is
by
a
We
it is a
can
sequence of
reuse code.
statements in which, in order to complete a particular task,
yeah, okay.
They
Some-
can be written outside the flow of code that we are following. And
we use functions in order to reusable in the code wherever you will
Yeah,
want.
correct, correct. So, see, functions are nothing but even they are a piece of code which basically helps us to make our code reusable. Okay, that is saving time. So, if there are lazy people like me, and I know that every day I have to come do the same stuff. What I'll do is I'll try writing it into a piece of code that will automate itself. Okay, so that will be iterated. Just like I gave you an example right before this, that if I have to print, if somebody tells me that Sneha, print every letter of your name. Okay, instead of doing a console.log name at 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, what I would do is write a function for it to print all the characters of my name. Okay, so these are basically to perform certain operations. It has, because we are reusing the code, there's less coding involved. So then we are trying to basically reduce the number of lines of code and make it more readable, more easy, more optimized in a way. Okay, so that is function. Okay, now why so we've been doing stuffs, right? Now suppose the for loop thing that we did for printing the letters of the name, I put it under a block of code called function, it would become a function. Okay, that particular word will work will be done inside a function. Okay, so you can see this is how the syntax looks. So you have a function keyword which will tell the computer that, okay, this is also a piece of code, but this is supposed to be a function. Okay, so for every function there's a function name, and then in these what are these called? These are called, I think, small brackets. These are small brackets, right? I always get confused. I think, yeah, these brackets, you give arguments. Okay, so we will look into what are arguments later. Yeah, parentheses. Thank you, thank you. I always can get confused by curly braces and parentheses and stuff. Okay. So we pass on arguments. Okay, so it's not necessary. You can also write functions that do not have arguments inside it. But if you have to specify these arguments that are supposed to be used, or that has to be, that has some role to play in the code block that is inside a function, this is how you will pass it. And inside the function body, you have the code to be executed, and ta-da, your function is ready to work. So instead of talking, okay, no, there are two more things that I have to talk. So there's one thing called as function definition. Okay, so what I just said right now to you about the syntax, that is function definition. So function definition will have a function name, okay, with a function keyword. It will have a list of arguments that will be contained in parentheses, separated by commas. You can have multiple arguments, and then there will be the statements that will be enclosed in the curly brackets inside the function body, okay. Now we'll see a few just basic examples of how can we execute function. So now you can see that this is a function. I've given the name as cube, and I've just passed one argument called a. I don't know what this a is. Okay, I haven't specified anything what a is. Now, what I did was inside the function I wrote return a asterisk a asterisk a. So, since we are pretty intelligent people, we know that it is a cube. Okay, for people who are not intelligent, we have written the function name as cube, so that they know that this function performs the cube of a number. And then what we do is, okay, we've written the function, we've written the statement. Now, just by writing, we won't get the answer, right? Because we don't have anything inside A. So we got to call the function, okay? Just like in our day-to-day lives, when we are hosting a function, okay, just because we've given the invitation cards to everyone, fixed the venue, decided the menu, bought dresses, that doesn't mean the function will happen, right? We got to execute it on the day it is supposed to be executed. So here also, we need to call the function when it is supposed to be called. So we do a console.log, and then we write the function name, and then we pass the value that we need, okay, the values whose cube we need. So now the computer will be able to relate that, oh, okay, this a, it has the value 5, and inside the function we're supposed to do 5 asterisk 5 asterisk 5. So now if I run this, it should run. Okay, so the answer is 125. I hope it's the correct calculation. Everyone, is the cube of 5 125? Yeah, people are actually right. Yeah, I know, bro. I worked 3 hours before the session to make sure everything's working. Just kidding. No. Okay, we'll see another example. So now we do the same thing. Instead of 1, we're passing a comma b, that is 2 parameters, and we do a console.log a asterisk b, and then we are calling this product 4 comma 5. Okay. Now you can either do return and then do console.log, or you can do a console.log already inside the function and then just call the function name. You don't have to do a console.log again. So what you do is when you try to run this, you will see 20, which is the product of 4 and 5. Okay. So the basic declaration, passing of arguments and everything works like this. Okay. Okay. This is not required. Oh shit. Sorry. Yeah. Then the other thing, okay, so now we have already talked about how we are calling the function, right? But there are multiple methods to call the function, okay, and one is by just putting the name, the function name with the console.log, or if you have already mentioned console.log in the block statement, you just call the function with invoking it. So you write it, that's how you call it. Then there's a call keyword, okay, there's a call keyword inside. What is it? Yeah, this. Okay. So this is the call keyword is how you are calling the function. Even this is one of the ways. I personally don't like this call and this keyword and all of it because I feel it complicates my job. But yeah, let's see. So you created a function product a comma b that returns a asterisk b. Okay. Now, as you can see, that sorry, this is fine. As you can see that initially we just did a console.log product a comma b, right? But here what we have to do is we are putting this inside a variable called result, and we are doing a function name dot call, and then we're using this keyword. Okay, so in JavaScript, this keyword is basically referring to the owner of the function. Okay, like it will specify that, okay, this is how do I say? You just imagine yourself that, okay, if someone is asking your friend, pointing towards your bike, okay, that whose bike is this, and you're standing right in front of your friend, so they will point towards you, right? So this keyword is basically to point that, okay, this is the owner of the function, this is the one who's calling it, and all of that. And then you give 20 comma 5, which will be the values of A and B. You should always know that the sequence in which you've given the arguments, the same sequence, the numbers will be taken. And then you do a console.log result, and I hope it should be correct. Yes, it's 100, right? So I feel that there's no point doing these extra lines and doing the this keyword and then call and blah, blah. But then general knowledge is important. So that is all about functions. There is one more way how we write a function, and that is an arrow function. So arrow function is the one that you will be seeing throughout once you get into projects. Like, people love writing arrow functions because they just remove extra complexities. There's no function keyword, there's less curly braces and stuff. So if you can see here, this was how we declared the function initially. There was a function name, argument 2, blah, 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 code to be executed. But when we come to arrow functions, you will see that there will be let my function. So obviously, because it's being used with let, it's a variable name. And there's no function keyword, there's no function name, there's instead a variable name. You're just directly passing the arguments with the equals to, giving an arrow, and then writing inside curly braces the statement. Okay. I've also specified that if the body has a single statement or expression, you can just write the arrow function as let my function or a variable name equals to the argument and then arrow and then the expression. There's no need of a curly brace. Okay. So that reduces a lot of your extra work. If you have only one argument and not these multiple arguments, we can also omit the parentheses. So basically, all these coders are pretty lazy and they're just finding ways to omit keywords, they're finding ways to omit parentheses, they're finding ways to omit curly braces and stuff. So here you can see that what they've done is they've declared a variable called greet with the help of let keyword. And there's one argument that is x. And what they've done is inside the function statement, it should be console.log x, and they have called the function, that is the variable name, with this hello. Okay. So they haven't used any function keyword, they haven't used any parentheses, they're not using any curly braces and stuff. Okay. So it's still working. So let's see if this works. So initially for me, arrow function looked pretty, what to say, overwhelming for me. I was like, I'll always, even today, if I write, I think I'll mess up with the curly brace or the parentheses. I'll miss something equals to or arrow or stuff. But see, this is working, right? So you're doing a console.log hello because x is being passed as an argument, right? So this works well. There's one way I figure out the arrow function. How? Obviously, by using that, by seeing the arrow. So wherever you see this arrow in your code, the first thing that should come to your mind is that this is a function. Instead, this is an arrow function. So then you know how things will work. Okay. We had this one code here also where we said let product. This was an implementation of the previous code itself, which we did here, 4, 5, 25, just 14, 5. That if, okay, I'll try to put this, with this, okay, so that you're able to see it in the same line, and then you will know. So see, here's a function, keyword, then there's product, then there's a comma b, and then there's console.log a asterisk b, then there's a function call, right, with the name and parameters. Here what they've done is let product, that is the function name, equals to a comma b, that is the parenthesis, arrow symbol, a asterisk b, that is the job that you have to do, and then you do a console.log product 14 comma 5, and it should successfully work. That is 70, right? So this is how arrow functions are written. You don't have to necessarily write it. First, be very comfortable on where to put parentheses, where to remove curly braces and stuff. But you should be able to identify arrow functions with the help of the arrow. Is someone, ma'am, is this works only in this language or any other? No, I think as per my knowledge, I've only seen it in JavaScript. I've never heard of this concept in C++ or Python. Yeah, I think it's there in JavaScript. If anybody else knows if it exists in other language, you can definitely tell. But as per my knowledge, I have no idea about that. Okay, so I've explained arrow function as well. I'll show you a few examples once you're very comfortable doing it. Then there are multiple statements. These we will deal later. We'll also do a quick a review tomorrow when we are doing this arrow function. Then there was this, no. So we'll be doing arrays tomorrow. I don't think I should take it today. It will be too overwhelming. So what you can do is, you guys can look into functions, various questions that you think you should practice under functions, get comfortable writing functions with various parameters and so. And also look into strings. I've already told you, yeah, TypeScript might also have them, but I've never worked on TypeScript, so I have no idea on that. Because it has a lot of similar functionalities, it might. So yeah, so I was saying that I've already told you to experiment with strings. Just go through functions, read about it, and what else? Yeah, we'll be discussing about, I think, 1 minute. Let me look at the syllabus. So we're gonna discuss about objects, date and time, events and stuff in the next class. So yeah, you can have that date and time and object and stuff we'll discuss in next class, but we'll also do a review of this. So make sure that you do the revision. Since we have the next class tomorrow itself, you won't get like much time to do it. And also for the last class, I know that most of you guys would have done the 4 questions that we had, but I would also want you to go through more pattern questions and make yourself comfortable with the syntax, because these loops and switch cases and the basic data types and stuff, this is something where we make most of the mistakes. So we really need to have our basics very, very clear. So make sure you go through them. Yeah, I think that's it from my end. If anyone has any questions or you guys have feedbacks or whatsoever, the stage is yours. Everybody slept off.
I had to ask one thing, like the companies that will be coming for internship, like ma'am mentioned in the group. So how would they be judging us for the interview? Is there any criteria?
So you're talking about the companies that Web3 Learn has partnered with?
Yes, like by economies.
Yeah, so as Kiran had already mentioned in the group, they will be giving problem statements as well. And maybe by the end of the cohort, when you do projects, that will be one evaluation. They will see if the project has a use case, if yes, how is it implemented. So that is enough for them to, assess if you are a quick learner, if you have, understood the concepts, if your idea has potential, did you work on the problem statement, how nicely were you able to execute what they wanted and stuff. So that will be your criteria.
Okay, so working on their problem statement would be the thing. We need to make project on their.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they'll obviously give you that. We are doing this JavaScript refresher, and we'll be, because there are times that even though you know Solidity, the deployment script and everything has to be written in JavaScript, right? So considering a major mass audience, we have to make sure that everybody is on page. That is why we're doing this. They're not going to ask you questions from JavaScript or other stuff. They'll see your implementation, they'll see your understanding and other stuffs.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Anybody else who has questions? Or anybody wants to speak? Guys, why are you still so shy? I was speaking non-stop for 2 hours, almost 2 hours. You guys can't speak for a minute, 30 seconds. At least appreciate the energy. Come on. Yeah, people will write it in the chat, but they would not unmute themselves and talk. Priyanka, Kiran, are you guys here? Like,
Yep.
so I was saying that I'm almost done. It will be pretty overwhelming if I start with another segment in the last moment.
No. We'll do it tomorrow. Anyway, it's a Sunday, and
Yeah.
I think we've been doing this for 2 hours. That's fine.
Yeah,
Cool, guys. Any further questions? We'll take 1 or 2 questions.
yeah.
Seems either you understood everything or you're taking a Sunday nap.
Yeah, exactly. People are writing, there are few people who are writing in the chat, but I don't know why are they not unmuting themselves and talking. And the rest of the audience is definitely sleepy. They're having their nice Sunday nap while I was blabbering all about functions and strings and stuff. Come on, you guys are so responsive during the session. Where are you guys, huh?
With today's session.
Don't forget to do the Twitter threads for your learning. It will help you build consistency. I'm focusing it on again and again. Make sure you do your GitHub contribution with even the basic codes that you have done during your cohort. Make sure you tag Web3 Learn, you tag me, you tag Kiran, you tag Priyanka, so that we are able to keep a track that you're doing it, and you'll have that kind of visibility as well. So people who are on our feeds and all of that, they'll be also able to see once we comment or like on your tweet, and even they will see that, okay, that you're building in public, you're learning in public. And when it comes to Web3, it's all about learning and sharing in public. So I think, yeah, those are the basic pointers that I always focus on. Now, if there's nothing, you guys can, I think you guys can leave. Nothing to share.
Yeah, I mean, we'll meet at PM tomorrow, our usual time. So yeah.
Yeah, we'll have the session at 7 to 9 tomorrow.
Yeah. You have all the calendar invites, and yeah. If we don't have any questions, I think let's catch it tomorrow. And if you have any questions, then let's put it in the WhatsApp group and we'll take it.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks, guys. Then have a great evening, and
Good evening, guys. Bye.
happy Sunday. Bye.